Welcome back to Scale Me Down and to part 2 of this mini series where we build, fly and review this 3-metre Minimoa vintage glider kit from the Tony Ray range of aero models. Remember to like and subscribe to support the channel. And this kit was supplied for review by Steve Webb Models, and I'll pop a link in the description below as to where you can get your own kit. In the last episode we built these tail surfaces, but in this episode we're going to tackle the wings, and they take a slightly different flavour as they're built in a traditional manner over the plan down to a board. If you don't mind cutting the plans, the minimum size of board required to build this kit is 43 by 11 inches or 110 by 28 centimetres. And here I've protected my plan with cling film to prevent the parts from sticking. Before we can glue anything together, we need to identify all the parts and free them from the various sheets of wood. We're just doing the outer panels here, and there's a handy lookup table at the end of the instructions if you're struggling to find anything. The wing ribs are beautifully laser cut from sheets of balsa and ply, and they include this lovely fretwork. I changed my knife blade for one that's more suitable for chopping these small retaining tags. This hobby knife set from Steve Webb Models is perfect for this, as the spare blades are neatly held on this magnetic strip when you're not using them. We first joined the long parts as sub-assemblies. These include the false trailing edges and shear webs, and are from a hardwood called Paulownia. All the ribs are slotted on and pinned down to the board, lining them up exactly with the plan. Just like the tail surfaces in the last episode, we don't add any glue yet. Once this jigsaw of parts is all slotted together and seated correctly, superphatic glue is wicked into all the joints. Finally, I'm adding the hardwood spars and balsa leading edges with regular aliphatic. Once all the glue is set, we can remove them from the board and get a better look at them. And this is the first time we've encountered any problems with this kit. Many of the long parts needed to be spliced and extended. And in my opinion, this is because of the cardboard box that the kit is packaged in. You can see here that the leading edge is slightly too short. And whilst we're at it, the wingtip blocks are poorly designed, but Tony's put a fix in the instructions using a small piece of 6mm balsa. Wing spars were also too short, so I used one of the supplied Paulownia strips to splice and extend them. However, even if I hadn't have done this, I'd still be one short, so we'll have to think of something else when we build the centre section. The ribs are beautiful, and so I've decided to use clear covering to show them off. But I'd like, therefore, the servo wiring to run through the sheeted D-box leading edge section. And so to do that, I had to make a hole through the shear web here to get the wiring through. And I did that before I assembled the wings. Now let's get the skins on. The skins, that is to say the sheeted areas, are also laser cut, although the balsa used here is slightly harder than I would usually use for this task. I use medium CA glue for this job, and a mist of water helps the sheeting to bend. This laser cut sheeting looks very smart once done, and is Tony's trademark. It's just difficult to position accurately. It also makes the many capping strips easy to apply neatly. You get into a rhythm with these but there are a lot of them to apply. Once all that's set, we can shape the leading edges and wingtips, starting with a razor plane and finishing up with a permagrip block. I found this mistake in the design of the wingtip sheeting, leaving this gap. To fix this, I glued in a thin sliver of tapered balsa with CA and then sanded it flush. After some more sanding, these beautiful wings emerge, although we did have a few issues getting to this stage, including the wingtip blocks and the leading edge sheeting as I explained, but also these infill pieces that are designed to catch the covering around the server doors. Fortunately, I didn't throw away the scrap that the sheeting was pressed out from, which made making and fitting these much easier. I had a bit of fettling required to get here, but any experienced aeromodeler shouldn't have an issue tackling these problems. It's not a good choice of kit, however, for your first build. I would get a couple of others under your belt first. Now let's move on to the centre sections and ailerons. Once again, the structure is quick and easy thanks to the accurate laser cutting. The balsa ribs are quite fragile at this stage, so I pin them down to the board by crossing the pins over the parts. Then just a bit of glue. These are the wing inner sections all framed up, and Steve Webb Models supplied the additional wood required to replace the missing lower inner spars, and I've been reassured that the kits have already been amended so that you should not experience this issue. I have also installed the wing joining tubes, along with some end caps, reinforcing the root rib with this bit of spruce, and with some epoxy and microfibers to tie together the joining tubes, shear web and spars. I've drilled a hole through the shear web and installed some servo wiring, as this kit includes air brakes. Now let's get them all sheeted up and all the capping strips applied. This works just like the sheeting on the outer panels. Once again fitted with medium CA and dampened with water to help them bend. And now on to the last batch of capping strips. There's 180 of them across this kit, so I hope you like doing them, but there is plenty of material supplied for this purpose. I joined the inner and outer panels using epoxy and the supplied plywood joiners. I raised the board up on blocks to ensure everything was laid flat whilst the glue cured. To complete the wings, we just need to build the ailerons. I reverted back to a more traditional building method here, as the accuracy wasn't quite as good. I think this is due to the extreme angles that the ribs meet the leading edge, so I had to chamfer and fit each one, fitting twice and gluing once. With the wings completed and laid out like this, we get an overall impression for the feel and size of the finished model. And here we have the results between episodes 1 and 2 of around 30 hours building. And join us next time for episode 3, where we'll tackle the fuselage. Until then, thanks for watching.